Did you smoke a little bit before this?
No, actually, Josh and I have been on hiatus since St. Patty's.
You guys did it together. Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro.
yeah. I know you mentioned, but it's- we always talking about like, yo, we're just smoking too much, and like it gets to a point where you like need to like chill out and clean out the whole system, and that's like where I'm at right now.
Yeah, you kind of do that on a regular basis.
I started to. I didn't for a long time. Then last year I went for a while, and it's
Yeah.
nice.
I feel
Yeah.
like you've like throughout, you know, just you living out there, especially, you just like take times to like,
Yeah, you know what it is? It's I've been given this like opportunity and I've realized that where I'm going and what I've left behind, there's like I have to go all in and like there's no excuse to like I don't know, like I just have to be prepared for anything at any moment. Like I just get a last minute audition and I can't be like, smoking or I
yeah,
gotta be clear minded and I gotta be able to delve into that and that happens all the time and I realize like once I'm like in this like flow state, not saying that like the trees gets me out of that, but I get like I'm just better. I operate better at this age and like time of my life without, any kind of substance. I never really drink, never, I don't do any like hard drugs, just smoke a little bit.
yeah. Me too, bro. I kind of like, you know, I quit like completely for like a
Yeah, I
long
remember
time,
that.
for probably almost a year or so,
I remember
and
that you
then
came here and you smoked a little and we watched fucking
Kill
Kill Bill.
Bill,
Yeah.
bro. And that was just like, I was like, when we smoked and watched Kill Bill, I was like, I remembered like the utility of like smoking a little weed and like watching something as creative and unique as Kill Bill.
Right.
Like every 5 seconds, I'll be like, "Yo, Tyler,"
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, what, dude? Did you see that crash zoom? Like, bro, don't you love the soundtrack on this shit? You know, just like analyzing the fuck out of it from that like filmmaker kind of lens and shit, and then
Yeah.
like getting your opinion on shit from like the actor's perspective. And it was like, yo, you think that line was ad libbed and shit? Like,
Probably not in Tarantino shit, honestly.
nah, nothing. Yeah, he
You know?
doesn't. They don't do that ad lib and shit, bro. Like he wants them to say the lines. He wants them to be 100% off book. Say my
Yeah.
lines.
Okay. Josh just said that might be his favorite movie, Kill Bill. I was like, "Ah,
It's
that's
you know fucking
understandable."
honestly, yeah. Honestly, it is fucking. It's incredible. It's probably. I think I like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a little bit more. Like as far as like the Tarantino kind of filmography, I think that I like that movie a little bit better. But Kill Bill is probably like top three. It might be like my third favorite
Kill Bill
Tarantino
goes
movie.
hard. Once upon a time in Hollywood, like is dope with the nostalgic feeling and like rewriting history and all that. I love that
Yeah,
that film. It's just two complete different joints. It's like it's tough. I hate when people tell me to narrow shit down or like, yo, what's your favorite color? Or like, what's your favorite movie? And like, I don't know. It's any given day, Like, I
yeah,
don't got a favorite color, bro. Like in grade school, like I'd be like, oh, maybe blue. But that was like when, I felt like I had to choose. And now I'm like, nah, like
yeah.
all that, you know?
Well, bro, I one of my favorite fucking questions that I've been asking on this show
Oh, yeah.
is where does creativity come from?
Where does it come from?
Where does creativity come from? I've gotten a lot of answers from
Okay.
this because it's really complex. But where do you think creativity comes from, bro?
It comes from the soul, man. It comes from your soul. I think that some great artists have it in them and then they see something that inspires them. It could have been a song of a bird. It could have been just the way the light was hitting the water and you like, it's divine. Creativity is divine. And when you like are able to tap into that and see it, through your perspective, because everybody's got a different perspective, and so it's within all of us. Don't get it twisted. We're all very, very creative beings. Some people just don't like tap into it. Some people are so lost in the rat race. Some people just don't think that they're creativity. So them thinking that makes them not so creative. But if you're able to like get out of that, rigmarole and start seeing the world in different colors and different perspectives, and maybe step back and not really and just let things happen. I think creativity is in the air. It's in everything. It's I don't know. That's a very good question, but to narrow it down to like where exactly, I have no clue, man. It's fucking divinity, man. Straight
Yeah,
up.
I like that, bro. Because I agree. I agree. I think that it's like I heard it said like this. It's the organizing principle of all things.
Mm,
Because like, I don't know, zoom in on your iris. You know what I mean? Like look at the circulatory system, your nervous system. Look at a water droplet. It's just like it's all so complex, creative. It's all so fucking intertwined
yeah.
into everything.
Yeah.
And everybody has it, and I agree. I think like it's definitely something that you tap into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like, your vibe, where you're at right now, if you look around, you're surrounded. You're surrounded by creativity, bro. You're surrounded by art. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I think a lot of it is like environmental, but also I think it's like biological too. Like, who knows, dude? Maybe you're like your dad's dad just had this creative thing, or your dad's you know what I mean? It's just like it could also just be like in your biology. It could be something that you were like inherently born with, and you just tap into it a little easier than maybe some other people do.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess now I'm thinking about it, like taking a step back, if like I was never like I can't imagine myself never being an artist. I've always loved to draw and I was just actually just really good at it. I was just good. So I was like, all right. And so I would just like win prizes since like third, first grade on. And I would enter in these fairs, these art shows and stuff. And, help with my mom and dad. They're always pushing me because it's like, whatever. And I realized like, all right, I'm kind of good at this, so maybe I should like, pursue this a little bit more. And I started taking like art history, AP art class all through college. And um, I don't know, I think that like aspect of it, like honing in on something that that you're good at or you want to like excel in, is another aspect of it. Because like if you don't delve in and devote your time into something, you're not going to actually be able to like level up and get into like that prolific, like what I'm trying to be is a prolific artist and what I believe I am. And if it wasn't for me like ever really pursuing that, then who knows where I would be. I'd probably be fucking raft guiding in Canyon City or some shit. No offense. I actually
Nah,
thought about
like,
that. Still think about it, but
yeah. I think like you, a couple of things I want to touch on. Your parents always nurtured it, dude. Your mom was so fucking proud of you all the time, dude. I just remember her being like, "Yo, Tyler won another art contest," and she would like put it up on the wall and be like, "Yo," with the little
the ribbon on it.
ribbon on it and shit. She was like so proud and just like nurtured it and fostered that creativity within you and bragged about it all the time. And it's like, I wonder how many people are out there that just like have all this talent, this untapped talent that they didn't know they had, but they're like working a construction job and they don't even know about it. And their parents didn't foster it and they didn't have this nurturing environment
Yeah.
for that, you
Well,
know?
that's funny because I worked construction for years, and I I remember sometimes I'll be like, showering all this dirt off after like a 70-hour week, and like I was stacking money, like it was nice, but there was something inside of me that was dying, and like I felt it, and like it would make me like literally scream, but yet no words were coming out. Like that's how I felt. And like I was like, I can't live like this. The money's great. I'm able to do whatever, whenever, but I just like couldn't go on like this. And that's when I just flip switch, and things. I took a couple photos and got scouted, and I was like ran with that. And my mom and dad are like, "All right, if you want to do this, you go all in. You take acting classes, you get into voice classes, dance, like you do everything to get to like keep your instrument like loose and ready to go, because our bodies are an instrument, and if you're not tuned and in tune with that, then you're a little rusty and it's just not working as well, like so every little thing with what I'm pursuing helps me with what I'm pursuing. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
No, it
that's,
does.
yeah,
It
yeah.
does, 100%. Because I think about, bro, like one thing that I always kind of like, I struggle with. I know when you focus on something, you focus on something like one discipline. So say you were just to focus on acting or writing or painting or whatever medium you express your art in, that if
Yeah.
you give all your focus to that, then that discipline is going to excel. And artists like me and you, where I'm a director, I'm a writer,
Many
I'm a
facets.
musician, you know what I mean, all those things. You act, you model, you paint, bro, you garden, you do you do so much shit, bro, that's like artistic. And it's like, I'm like, if I develop each of these things, if I develop writing, if I develop directing, is it all under the umbrella of being an artist?
Yeah, I think it is.
Do they all coincide together? Because
For me,
sometimes I wish, yeah, like sometimes I wish it'd be like, okay, I wish I could just be satisfied with just being a writer or just being a director, but I can't, you know?
some people get right, and then their screenplay gets picked up, and then all of a sudden they're writing for something that's bigger than them, and then that they become consumed in that. That would be dope. But at the same time, say like I book a lead role in a film, and I'm completely consumed in that, and I'm gonna let myself do that. I'll delve in and I'll do all the back work, whatever this character needs, and I'm just nothing else matters to me in that moment in the world. And but then when I'm done, there's like, all right, you kind of just have to like let that character go, and then there's like this weird like dopamine kind of release, and then you're like kind of need to chill out, and then I'll bring everything back like full circle with like nothing else is going on, so I'm gonna create something. And like I like, if it's not like making beats or music, I'd go into like painting or like doing something, some street art, I yeah, it's just anything, but I have to. And if I don't, like I said, that moment when I was working construction, I felt like I was going to like dying inside, and so I don't want to have that feeling again.
Hell no, hell no.
No.
And I think, do you have like is it just a feeling? Are you just like, I haven't created in X amount of days, I got to get out there and I got to do something?
No, no, no. When creativity comes, I let that flow. And my work as far as art goes, like I'll conjure up ideas and like sit on them for a while, because I like to work on big pieces, as you know, and so I want my like visions and my sketches, and also I do a lot of research into like just styles and colors and everything, and I let that kind of just like marinate. I'm not like, oh, I gotta put this out. Oh, I gotta do this. No, because that's putting like too much on yourself, and you can't do that. Like I also like to just chill out, play some video games, and just watch movies as well. It's like that also is a huge release for me to escape the world, you know? When you're doing this and nothing else exists, you know, you're painting, nothing else exists. It's like I love that. And it's not like an escapism for me. It's a world that I've created that I don't, I don't know, man.
It
Uh,
helps. It helps. It helps those fucking seeds of creativity kind of take root.
yeah, and I've never understood why like everyone's like, oh no, you have to like you have to focus on one thing. Like you can't just be like your fingers in all the dikes. Like you can't do that. And I've always hated when people said that. Like, and I wouldn't even confront them or talk to them ever again. Like,
I don't fuck with you now, doc.
yeah, you tell me I can't do this, we'll prove you wrong. Matter of fact, I actually
Yeah,
love that, but yeah, I don't need that energy in my life though.
nah.
Nah.
How do you know? Because like you mentioned like ideas come for things, and then you'll research it, and then you'll kind of like let it sit and kind of marinate.
Yeah.
And how do you know when you have like an idea that's worth pursuing? You know what I mean? Is it just kind of like you plant that seed, let it grow, and then you're like, you know,
It's
that
just if I
was,
like it.
it's just like a feeling. You know what I mean? Or is it just like, do you put it through some kind of like criteria to
No.
say if it's like worth it or not?
I mean, no, not like any kind of like analytical criteria thing. I'm sure some artists do, but nah. It's just like something that I like, and that's why I get so attached to my art pieces because they're like another part of me, and it's literally like a part of me. And so when people are like, yo, you need to sell your art. I'm like, do I?
I'm
Do
gonna
I
just keep
really?
stacking. Yeah.
I have around me over 50 plus completed art pieces and like three collections. It's crazy. Yeah, it's a little overwhelming, not gonna lie.
I've
But
seen him, bro. It's impressive. It's fucking impressive. Just the sheer amount of art, but like
appreciate that.
especially when you know how much time and energy and effort went into the pieces.
Yeah. Most of the time is staring at a blank canvas or just like conjuring up something in your or like the sleepless nights or like waking up from a dream and be like, I've literally my last piece was from a dream. So it's like, you know, one of those things. That's the most time, and that's actually the most common question, which I hate. I fucking hate that question. When someone looks at your art, they're like, "Oh, how long did it take you to do this?" I'm like, that's like, why does that even matter? Like, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like everyone
absolutely.
sees it so like on this whole other side, and it's like I hate that, but it is what it is. But like you know, they want to know like how much time, of course, whatever. And I'm not like beep, all right, you know, set my timer
Yeah.
and then turn it off when I'm done working. I even have a hard time like documenting my art. People are like, dude, you would blow up if you documented your shit more. And I get out of my flow state when I gotta like turn the camera, work on these angles, do some other like I just haven't gotten to that, and it doesn't work for me when I'm creating at least.
I think it probably becomes a little more performative. You know what I mean? When you're doing it in front of a camera rather than kind of just doing it for
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah, I get out of my state and like I'll be listening to all types of weird ass shamanic frequencies and like I'm just like in my zone, bro. And I don't even think it's that like I don't know. Like people like I guess on social media they like to see that, but I almost don't even want to show anyone my art, man. I'm afraid someone's gonna bite my shit or something.
Yeah.
For real. There's some people that talk about that, be like, never, ever show people your work. And I'm like, it's kind of makes sense, you know, because like especially on the internet, like if it's in a gallery, that's something that's a little different. But like when it's on the internet, you can just take a screenshot of your shit, then project it, and then like copy that, and like call it their own. Good luck.
Good luck. You ain't. Yeah, bro. I see why someone wouldn't want to put their art out there because it's like it is a piece of them. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like I've heard it said like I like this art enough that I wanted to share it with you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because of how this makes me feel when I look at it. I want you to
I
feel this.
agree.
I want you to feel the same way when you see it. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It's kind of it's like it's almost like spreading this feeling to to the community. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because that I look at every individual piece that you have up there, and it all
like
has
that.
this emotion. It all has this feeling involved with it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what like the whole debate is just like, well, you could take a picture of a chair and make it black and white and call it art.
Right?
And people are like, that's just a fucking chair. But if somebody saw that and was like, that chair represents my solitude, and
Hmm.
somebody got something from it,
That's what it's all about.
who are we to say what art is and isn't? You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
very subjective.
it's the most subjective. I think like I think painting might be the most. I mean, we got music, you got acting. There's so many art forms, dance. Um, but like you're saying, like I agree. I think art is meant to be shared, and it's a liberating feeling because sometimes someone will see something that like has never been done before or didn't even think it was possible, and then it sparks something inside of them. And really, that's why I do it. It's to give someone else that divine spark that like that we're capable of doing some like great fucking things, man. And it's beautiful, and that's why I'm so addicted to acting, to be like a storyteller, to be it's not like I don't want to be famous, man. I want to like it's literally in me since day one, and I've like never really pursued it up until like 5 years, 6 years ago. I was always a skateboarder, football, track, all through high school, a little bit in college, and I never pursued that. But I've always had this in the back of my like mind, or like this feeling inside of me. And it's even funny, like in like was it third grade? Shit, maybe it was first grade. They made us do like these books of where you see your life and every like aspect of your life, like your house, your family, all this, and like you draw it out. And on the cover is like the door with the gold star and my name on it, right? Like the actor's door, and that was like first grade. You know what I mean? Like that shit was
Young,
just
bro.
like
You knew young.
distilled, yeah, some deep inside of me. And through some series of events, I'm just blessed enough to have landed two feature films, both lead roles, um, which is amazing. And I have some amazing representation that gets me some incredible opportunities. So it's just kind of like, that's why I was saying I got to be prepared at any moment. And if I'm not, man, someone else will be. It's very, very competitive out here. So.
Straight up, bro. Yeah, you're in the most competitive market, maybe on the planet.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And the other thing is, if you're not good at getting rejections, this is not the business. I've had so many rejections and it's so tough because you're putting your heart and your soul into this character and into this project, and it's like everything, and then it's just crickets. You're nothing back, or maybe you do, but hardly ever you get any feedback. And that's a tough one. So you just gotta celebrate it, man. Celebrate everything, like the littlest things. Like, oh, I just got the audition, like sent in, and it's not all self tapes now. Like, I'm not going in for like theatrical stuff. It's all self tapes. Commercial, some in person, but theatrical, it's all just. So you're just you're not getting any direction. You're just at your place working with. I got Johnny. He's an amazing actor, and he helps me out so much with these self tapes, and he's so good at finding like the littlest things. And I'm like right there on par with him too. So we're like, oh yeah, I was thinking that too. Let's try that, and we get a perfect take, and we're like, that's perfect. But then we always do one more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like super collaborative between the two
Yeah,
of y'all, and that's like one of my favorite parts about this whole fucking thing, about filmmaking, about features, about all of that is the
the
collaborative
dance.
aspect.
Yeah, it's a dance, man. You got to know how to hold hands, and you got to know how to let go at sometimes. Like with this last film called Muscle Dragger, I'm still working on. We were supposed to be shooting this weekend, but it's like I'm rolling with the punches because this is the most independent skeleton crew film that I've worked on, and don't get me wrong, the story is incredible, and it was just like a no-brainer for me, like to not like I would never say no to this opportunity, even if it was free. I didn't want to tell them like, "Oh, I'll do this shit for free," like, you know what I mean? But it's within even a small element of like this production. There's a lot of things that you got to like handle like professionally and artistically and in a friendship, in a loving, caring way, because if you're not, then it's not going to work. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple things I want to dig into. I want to like dig into like when you get into a role, like how do you find the character? How do you find the character when you read it, right? The writer has an interpretation, the director has an interpretation, you have your interpretation. How do you bring those all together? How do you find who you think the character is?
Yeah. It's a good question. You know, everything's got to come from you and your experiences. You are, say, you're the only one of you, and you only like no one else is you. So we're all very unique in that aspect, and so you obviously bring what you know and what you have with your repertoire, with your background, with your training, with your vocal work, with your body movement. All of that comes into play. And then when you read the script and you read it and read it and read it, I try not to even get into like this character like until I'm completely memorized. And then you throw it all away, and then you marinate on that, and you're like, oh yeah, and then the writer meant it like that, but I was saying it like this, and then I'm making little notes on the script to present to the writer, because like the western that Among the Willows, I had so many little side notes, and I would do it out of respect to like exactly how he read it or wrote it, and then I would ask, be like, I think like the character would say this, and he'd be like, yeah, let's try that, and so it was like it's great to work on a set that like allows you to do that, and like but how do I find a character? I mean, I've only shot 2 movies, man, so let's
Yeah.
not get all crazy, but like so this western I landed, it was the antagonist, so he was a bad dude, and I'm such a good guy, right.
Right.
And so like finding these little nuances of like this sociopath character, and in your mind you're not a bad dude. As this character, you're doing what is justified, you know what I mean? And so it's actually so fun to play a bad dude, so fun.
Yeah.
um
I read something recently, just like I've been reading Stoic philosophy, and it's just like nobody thinks that what they're doing is bad.
yeah. Yeah. And everyone could find truth in anything. So,
Even fucking evil fucking people think what they're doing is good.
yeah. And so that goes into acting as well, of course. And it's such a fun experience when everything comes together and you're in your look, fitted up, say like I got my gun belt on, I got my hat, I got everything, then truly that's when the character fully like starts to come together. And you start building all of a sudden weird little idiosyncrasies and like ticks or like bringing in shit that you never would have thought. Dude, the crazy shit. We were shooting for 12 days straight. And on the 12th day, um, we took a little break and I camped for 4 nights, like by myself in the middle of this, like where we were shooting on this dude's property. It was so sick. And it was the first time camping by myself too. And it was a little like the first night, dude, it was so creepy, bro. There was like weird ass noises. I was like, just a little scared. And then I just kind of like embraced it all, right?
Yeah.
And I woke up that next morning freezing. First of all, I was freezing to death. I was like, it was cold, bro. But I was dreaming as the character, and I woke up as the character, Eli Kilpatrick, and it fucked me up, dude. I had like an existential crisis, like a personality, like what do you call that? Where you just like don't know who you are. And it was so weird, dude. And that's the craziest thing when people ask you like, oh, you a method actor? And I think there's no way around that. Like, yeah, you could have your Meisner techniques or your Stanislavski, you know, and you could have all of these techniques with acting. And but I think they all have to like coagulate. You can't just be like on this or on that, because then you're closing yourself off from this. You can't do that. And so like there's a little bit of every little technique within your artwork. And I'm telling you, bro, that was just a crazy experience. And I don't know if anyone else has had that, but yeah.
I'm sure they have, and I remember you telling me about that story and me being like,
Yeah.
"Holy shit!" Like you really dove in to
It
that
wasn't
character.
even
You
it
became
wasn't
that
even
character.
like, of course I dove in, but it was like your 12 days of reading and your 12 days of just this other dude. And like then you're done shooting, you go home, take a shower, wake up, do it again. And it's just like you have no, oh, my lights are dying. You have no option but to, you know what I mean? And I honestly love that. Like it's pretty awesome. What's awesome about it is that we're capable of tapping in and channeling some weird, crazy, beautiful stuff like that. And I'm addicted to it, like fully.
Yeah, being on set, man.
No.
Being on set is just like it's fucking exhilarating.
Yeah.
It's fucking one of my favorite places to be,
Dude, and
just
on a
on earth.
big set, like I shot that Hyundai commercial, that was insane, dude. You just get there, you have just like somebody watching over you, like getting you everything you need. It's just like the craft service is immaculate, the lunch, everything. It's wild to be on like a huge like production that's like just like flawless, you know? And everyone's in such a good mood and everyone's got like ear things like, oh, yep. All right, flying Tyler in right now, like, you know? And
Yeah,
that's another thing. I was like, why is this dude always like, he's just telling me to like, oh, you need anything, just stay here, I got you. And I realized it because time is money. And if they have to spend time looking for your ass on set, you know, so that's why they hire like, you know, people to take care of that, honestly.
yeah. For you, it was like a second AD, right?
Yeah, he was a homie too. He was cool.
Yeah, second AD or I mean sometimes it's a PA, but on a set like that, it's probably a second AD or a second,
It
depending
might have
on
been, yeah, I'd have to see.
yeah, like depending on how big the set was, but
That commercial
yeah.
was definitely the biggest. I mean, I've shot like a AT&T commercial 3 days. That was insane too. But that Hyundai commercial was wild, man. There's just so many moving parts, and they were shooting for 5 days, and so it was just like a lot. And I was only there from like 7 to like 12, and I was out.
Oh shit, bro, they wrapped you quick.
Yeah, I was the first one. I was the first look, and then I was done by like 9. Not gonna lie, I was like in there 8:30, 9:30 maybe, and you know it was so easy, bro. Yeah, it was crazy. And then I just sat there and then just talked about. We made like actually I was sitting there with all the other actors, and we started making a movie, like a scary movie kind of thing. And who knows, we might actually start shooting this. Would be sick.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
get into the horror vibe.
That's really like the highlight of that day when I was on set because like yeah, the opportunity was great, but meeting these other people, like-minded people, and actually like collaborating where we were like shooting emails about like the script and like the characters and all of that right now. So it's cool.
Dude,
It's a
that's
true
sick.
story too.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, it's about like this infamous like whorehouse and how one of like all like some of the old A-list actors would always like visit like Bruce Willis and all this shit, and then like somehow she like went to prison for like money laundering, and like there was like some death involved and some stuff, and then we started like embellishing and like glorifying some stuff, but it's pretty interesting. It all started because the makeup artist was like, yeah, I live in this old house where this like went down, and I was like,
And then so you all just kind of started like piecing it together.
literally, yeah, just like just going like, and then it was like we weren't even eating lunch. We were just like talking about this, and we like left it where like we got all of information, and that was like before our Christmas break, and then I kind of had a feeling it would die. Like I haven't heard back from them in like a couple weeks now, so I don't know. Everyone's a little busy. One of the dudes like just shot like a what was that? The new Jurassic Park film.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was like,
Jurassic World.
yeah, Rebirth Island or something. I was like, bro, you about to blow up. He was like, dude, I was like the only homie, like there was not a name in that movie. It was like 11 actors and I was one of them. I was like, hell yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah.
My dad is just like, how many different versions of
Right?
you know what I'm saying? My dad's like, how many different versions of Jurassic Park can you do? It's like you go to the park, they're gonna escape, they're gonna eat some people, and then you're gonna have to get off the island. He's like, how many different versions of that can
They're
we
gonna
do?
have some throwbacks. They're gonna be like in like right where the egg cracks and it's like the first fucking Homo sapien fucking
Yeah, bro. Um,
it's just gonna
so
be called Jurassic. They're gonna just drop the name park. It's gonna be like Jurassic.
yeah, I know how they do with like all the other movies. They just like, you know what, we're just gonna call it Fast instead of Fast and Furious, and then now we can just do 20 more movies and it's all good.
That's the thing. Fast and Furious, because I'm this Muscle Dragger film that we're working on right now is a little bit like that, based in the '70s, and more to like more realistic. Like they kind of lost it. The first one was dope. Fast and Furious one was dope, which yeah. So I'm really excited because when I'm like thinking like, damn, I want to watch something dope like and I'm like scrolling forever to watch something on these, and I'm like, what can we watch, and like something cool and exciting. And I'm thinking always like this project that I'm working on would be so sick. Like it'd even be a TV show, like a series where you pick up and he's like getting this kid, Ricky's always getting into fights and racing cars and just like all this shit is happening, and it's such a cool storyline. You can just like take it anywhere. And Frank is like talking about like, Muscle Dragger 2 and where Ricky goes back home, picks up the girl that he fell in love with, and like build a world around him, which, dude, that'd be sick.
So today was supposed to be a pickup, right?
Yeah,
So you
it's supposed
principal
to.
photography is done.
Maybe. So they're editing it right now, and they're just having some problems with the way it was sent over to the editor, and I think he's like downloading some tools to work with it, and he might need me to ADR. But he was like, dude, told Frank, he's like Frank, the writer producer. It's his first time, Frank, that he's ever like did anything. He wrote a book and then it just got like some traction and he got like really inspired to make a screenplay. The screenplay was like in Word document and I was
Oh yeah,
like
I remember that
transferring
shit.
it
Yeah,
over. Yeah, you
to
helped me
final
write
draft.
you helped me
Yeah.
write a scene and then I wrote like a little bit of the ending and it was so dope putting that into like actual format. And so like I just got off the phone with him a couple days ago and he's like, yeah, it's just not worth you coming because it's shooting Fresno and it's like 3 hour drive and I don't have a whip right now, so it's like it's a little bit, I gotta know like if we're doing it or not, and like, plan it and all that. And they weren't even sure if they were gonna even use these pickups. Like they know they need more car scenes. They know that like they feel like they need a little bit more of me and like building this like world. And I knew that from the get. I'm like, yo, they're missing some stuff. Like this kid leaves his hometown on the road to find justification for like the death of his uncle. But there's like not a lot of like say you leave your hometown for the first time, you're like in this world that you've never seen, you're stopping off at some dope sites and like, you know lost at times, and there's, I don't know if we have that in that film or not. And so once they have it fully edited and start looking at it, they'll realize what we need and what we don't need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you got this job because the guy was this from the other film that you did? You kind of got, because you also shot that with the
Tyler.
Fresno crew. Yeah.
Well, sort of. So, I was spoken up by a friend, Samantha, and this other guy named Brandon Baker, and he was in. They both were in the Western, and they were a part of. Brandon was like doing some casting for this Muscle Dragger film, which they've actually shot and then did a short, and they just couldn't find the right character, the right. It just wasn't working, and so they had the lead actor already booked, and they were shooting some stuff with him. Uh, but then he moved to New York and was gonna come back to shoot, but he was in New York, and so Sammy and Brandon spoke my name to him, be like, "Hey, we know this, young actor just did an amazing job in this Western that we're working on. And I was wondering maybe you could send him something to audition." And so um, they sent me the script, and he said, "Read for these roles," and it was a couple smaller roles, small part. And he came back to me, almost like identical with my first film that I landed. And they came back to me and said, "Hey, why don't you read for these two parts? They're both lead roles. They got the lead, the hero, the antagonist, and the protagonist." And I read for them both. And he offered me like, "Well, which one do you want to do? You want to be this guy or this guy?" And like, I was like, "Oh, Ricky, like for sure." He was very, very complex. He wasn't a bad dude, but don't fuck with him kind of shit. If he gets backed in the corner, he'll hold his own. A lot of stuff going on. And so he gave me that role, and he's like, "Listen, I know we have this role already booked, but I think like you're perfect for this role." And I told Frank, because it's his first time, I was like, "Listen, this is the business, man. If you want, this is gonna be out there and out there forever, and you want it to be your baby and like a project worth having your name on, then it's business. There's no hard feelings like saying, 'Hey, sorry, we're gonna go a different direction to this guy.'" And what they did actually, Lance, he had the role, and then they just moved him to having the other role, which was, he kind of comes in like halfway through the movie, and it's a dope role, don't get me wrong, but you know it is what it is. And he said yeah, and so we were both acting together through the film, and there was no hard feelings at all.
So you kind of like, I mean, you were saying that you got to be good at rejection, you got to be good at hearing no, right? And anybody who is trying to become an actor is like, how do I break in? How do I do it? They go to acting classes. They do all that kind of shit. Bro, you have representation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have representation. You've had representation for a long time, bro. You started out in Denver with representation from on the modeling side. How do you go about, two questions. How do you go about getting representation, for one? Once you get representation and they start getting you jobs, how do you handle the rejection? Because you spoke about you got to be good at handling the rejection.
Yeah.
How does one handle the rejection once you get the representation?
Right. Those last two films, I booked by myself with my
Right.
agents. They're non-union gigs, and my theatrical side of my family is only union gigs. But that being said, how does one go about getting representation? I honestly was just blessed to just put my desires and like what I like truly wanted just out there and told the people in front of me that were giving me these opportunities, be like, listen, I want to be a serious film actor, and this is what I want to do. And they're like, all right, like get into some acting classes. And this was in New York, and like I was like, all right. So they kind of like guided me. They sent me a couple lists of some acting classes. I got into it, um, and it was like my first time getting on stage in front of these all these New York acting, actors inside of this class. And I was paralleling improving the scene. So it's like you're improving, but you're hitting some points of the scene. And I was up there on this stage, and I remember I was about to pass out, dude. I was so fucking nervous. And for what reason, I don't know. But I remember before we took an intensive workshop, and she was saying, like, the emotion of like fear and love and anxiety, and it's all the same chemical. It's just what you decide to do with it. And so I was like, all right, that sounds cool. It didn't really click. But then when I was on that, and I was about to pass out, I felt everything going white. My whole body was tingling. I just knew it was so weird. It was so weird because I've never had that happen. And I just knew, I was like, I got to take this energy and like up it and just like take it to where I need to go. And I used that energy and that weird like anxiety for the scene and to better myself. I might have been shaky. I might have been a little bit here and there, but to me, that was the most natural high I've like been. And like I said, like I've been addicted to it ever since. And
So you channeled it in that moment,
yeah.
in the scene. Specifically, how did you channel that nervousness, that anxiety? How did you channel it in the scene?
It's just like one of them fight or flight moments. It's like it's in you. You know, like when like a mom's baby's under the car and she lifts
Yeah.
that shit up, and that's a little bit like
It's
extreme,
like a
but
small
it's
version
in
of
you. It's
that.
in, yeah, it's in all of us. And it's like when you decide to do it, it just happens or not. You know, like if you're timid as an actor, like you have to be open. You can't be closed off. You have to be the most vulnerable person in the room. Otherwise, you're gonna fail or not come across and not do the story justice, or and so, and that's the most important thing. You have to like do it justice, otherwise you won't feel like you did a good job. And
Do you remember specifically what the prompt was when you were improv?
no, no, it was just like I was like I almost like cat got my tongue and I was gonna pass out, and like I can't do that in front of everybody right now. Like it was just one of those things where like I took that energy and just like let it go, and then it was almost like blacked out down there, bro. It was weird.
You like woke up and you had done like fucking 10 lines of dialogue and shit.
People were
Like
just clapping and shit. I'm
you're like, oh fuck, I'm back.
It's such a cool experience though. So like I was scouted, and so I was blessed enough to get into. I got scouted for modeling, and then I got placed in with like the beauty aspect of a commercial agency that represented like actors, voice actors, writers, directors. Like it's a big agency, and I'm still with them, called Innovative Artists. And I sat
How
down.
were you? I'm sorry to interrupt. How specifically were you scouted? You did headshots, right? Or something like
Um,
that, or how did that work? They find
I
you
was
on
in I
on
was
the
I was
internet,
living in
or
Denver, bro, and I quit construction and just to like fuck around. I got like a part-time job as a pool boy, like cleaning pools and stuff. And I would like sometimes just get approached by random people, be like, "Yo, you should be a model." Oh, like so. Like one time, some old drunk lady, like real embarrassing. I just was always told, like, "Oh yeah, you got great features. You should model." And so, like, I found some professional photographer. We went around like some train yards, basketball courts, just like random locations, and took some photos. And then one day, I don't even know. I put them on like there's like a internet website called like models.com or something like that. And I got hit up, phone call, and the guy was like, "Yo, my name's Alex Ramirez. I scout models. I'm a mother agent, and this is blah blah blah. This is what I can do." I'm like, "Yeah, right, right, right." Click. I'm like, that shit is that. that's a scam. I was like, that's a scam for sure. And then like a month later, I had this
So
gut
you
feeling.
hung up on him straight up.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I was like, I don't think I hung up on him, but
You're
I
like, yeah,
like
whatever. All
thinking
right.
like, nah, that's not like that seems like a scam because there was a lot of scams going on at the time, especially through that models.com. They're like, yeah, we could send you a check and then you could send it back to us, like all types of weird shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so, yeah, and so like a month later, I call him up and he's like, all right, and then a couple weeks after that, he placed me in a huge agency in LA. I got signed with them and in Miami at the same time. And I went out to Miami and started doing that. And I was like kind of thrown in. It was modeling, but in Miami, there's a lot of commercial work. And so I was just like thrown into like all of a sudden just auditioning commercial stuff a lot. And I was like, this is cool, but I wasn't booking nothing. And so I went to LA, and the way I was able to get there is the agency had a model apartment, and so I just like posted up in this model apartment, like bunk beds and random muffs and stuff.
Just like the
Uh,
movie Zoolander, bro. Like
all
literally
Zoolander, dude.
just like the
Just
movie Zoolander.
gasoline fighting and shit.
But
But no,
like,
it was sick, Joey, because I left my family, my friends, everything I knew for this, and like it could sometimes feel really lonely, but like I was surrounded by like these dudes, same age, kind of same shit, pursuing this random, same thing where who knows what's gonna happen. And I started like booking and I made like 25K within like months of me moving down to LA. And I was like, damn, this is what modeling's all about. Like, this is crazy. And so my agency, my mother agent was like, I'm moving to New York. Um, I got a job out there and you want to come and start modeling out there. And so I went with him, stayed at his place for a couple of days, and I got signed to like a huge agency out there. Then I stayed in their model apartment, and then I got a place to myself in New York. I was studying, and I like that's when I signed, and I got into a theatrical department and met with Jamie and a lot of other people in the innovative theatrical part. And I started slowly getting out and doing auditions that way. And I was like, oh, let me move out to LA, back to LA, because I feel like I work a little bit better out there. Because New York is sick. I love it. I can't wait to go back. But I dipped out about like was that like almost 5 years in New York. Dipped back to LA and opened this whole side of it, and it's just kind of been like doing the damn thing out here ever since. For I've been in LA for 7 years now.
and
Yeah,
you have an agent for like modeling.
yeah. I have
So like, and then you have a theatrical agent. Did the agent that
yeah.
you had that was like booking you on model jobs, that's the agent that was like, well, if you want to be an actor, you need to like act. You need to do some improv. You need to take some classes. Was it that person that told you to do that, or was it a different agent?
No, it wasn't really like they told me like that. I was like, I'm willing, I'm down to do this. I'm just letting you know these are my aspirations. They're like, all right, well, let me like. No one really like told me anything. And with these bigger agencies, a lot of times you kind of get like overlooked. It feels like sometimes, and that's like a plus and a minus. Like I'm going out on auditions that like Miles Teller is like auditioning and booking instead of me, and it's just like, it's competitive. And so no one really told me that. It was just that was what I knew I had to do, and I still do. I still pursue that all the time. I'm trying to do a play right now with a friend, and Frankie and Johnny and the Claire de Lune. I don't know. Have you heard of that play?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's so dope, dude. It's so good. It's like 1950s New York. It's all takes place in a studio, and there's like, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, bro.
It's
It that, like plays and things like that are like way outside my world because I've never even been to one.
So this is
Uh,
my idea. Kind of same. I've been to plays, but here's my idea. We're gonna work on this play, but shoot it on a camera and not do it like a play. We're gonna do it like as an adaptive, like film, basically.
Fuck yeah.
I think it'd be cool. Like very cinematic. Like yeah, it'd be cool.
Fuck
Get
yeah.
close, wide, establish shots, everything.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah. Shoot it like a movie.
Yeah. Got a got a library card, so I'm able to just get like you can find so many things at the LA library. So we just found like a two-person play, me and Sammy, and we're honing in on that. But yeah, man, to touch on your other question, how do I deal with, or how does one ever deal with rejection? It's like kind of the same thing. It's like the same idea of like, oh, you feel sad about it? Oh, fuck that. Fuck that. You just got the best opportunity of your lifetime. You gotta celebrate that. Even if they said no, that's not a loss, man. That's like a win. That's a step into the right direction of pursuing your dreams even further. And that's how I look at it every time. Every time. And yeah, just kind of like let it go at the same time. Like, all right, cool. Hit the beach. Just let it just float away.
Yeah, dude. I feel like that's so difficult for other people. You know what I mean? To just kind of
Yes.
let that
Difficult
shit go.
for it's difficult for everyone, don't get me wrong, and that's why a lot of people don't stick it out in this industry that long because it's just like and then all of a sudden their life just starts happening and like they got a kid and like they gotta start working a job, and because right now in this industry it's tough, dude. Since the strikes, then like it came back and then it was like the fires and then it's just like it's really, really hard right now. People are literally like losing everything. Some people are, you know, yeah, it's bad. And
Yeah.
so for me to get these opportunities, I'm celebrating it with everything I got, man. And I'm not like, going out and getting wasted to where I got like, ruining my next day. And now that I'm in my 30s, I'm ruining my next couple days.
Facts, bro.
I'm turning 36 this next month, dude.
Yeah, April. Fuck. 18th.
18th, dude. Yeah.
18th. 18th. Yes.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm good.
Damn.
Yeah, I like rejection to me is it's I look at it like it's like the fact that I even had an opportunity to kind of pitch on this, the fact that I had an opportunity to even get in the room or to speak with this person about this
Yeah.
was a win to me. You know what I mean? And it kind of sharpens the sword. It sharpens the sword of being good in a room. It sharpens the sword of being able to pitch yourself, and it's really tough. Like a lot of times you don't know why you didn't get the audition. It could be like his hair was an inch longer than I wanted it to be. It could be some stupid shit. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Or,
Yeah, his
you
eyes
know,
weren't blue enough or some bullshit.
yeah, like
That's
you don't,
actually like the truth, though. It's very, very true. Like you could be the best actor, but don't have the look or something. You know,
yeah,
it's
bro.
so true. Yeah.
You hear about these like mega super fucking huge actors losing out to these other actors, and they're like, yeah, I tried out, I auditioned for that and I didn't
Yeah.
get it, and this other guy got it. And you're like, dude,
Yeah.
you're Michael Keaton, you know what I mean? Like you're fucking you're DiCaprio, you know what I mean? Like,
Like Brad Pitt, I think he like turned down the role of Neo in The Matrix.
yeah, so did Will Smith.
Damn.
Will
Will
Smith turned
Smith
that
would have
shit
been
down.
tight in The Matrix, actually.
Yeah, he would have been dope, bro. Just slapping the shit out of agents, just like,
Yeah. Don't you ever.
yeah, dude. I just, you're one of the most creative people I know,
Man,
just
thank you
on the
so much.
planet. Like, how are you like?
Appreciate
How are
that.
you so fucking in tune with that though? Like, like when you get ideas and when things bubble up to the surface, how are you able to just like identify that? How are you able to be in that head space all the time to receive the creativity? You know what I mean? Because it's like, bro, it's easy for like life to get in the way and shit, like paying
Yeah.
bills and like,
That's
you-
yeah.
relationships and disputes and like
Yeah.
things like that. Like life gets in the way, bro. And you know, I know for me, bro, it's like sometimes I don't feel like I'm in my creative zone because I'm so fucking head down in life. You know what I mean?
I do, very, very much so, and that's another thing that digs at every creative soul, and every true artist has a responsibility to this world, you know, and if I'm not like living up to that responsibility, that's another thing that like pins at you, and it's just I don't know, man, why I'm so tapped in. I just always have been a creative soul, and I think it's really operating as like a kid. I just am a little kid, man, and I like to stay young at heart, and I like to see things like I've never seen them before, you know, like for the first time, and live in the magic of this world because this world is filled with magical things, just like patiently waiting for you to discover them. And you just gotta live in that magic and be that light, and things come to you. It's crazy. I'm like living proof of that, living proof of like the law of attraction, and yeah, it's amazing.
That's it right there, bro. That's the one.
Straight
I'm
up.
clipping that because it's just like paying attention, right?
Yeah.
That's really what it is, man. It's just being mindful. It's just like being in the moment. Like
Moment. Yes.
take your head out of the fucking static and just be more aware.
Yeah, and that's with life, bruh. Like, you know, what's crazy about, you know, I started studying acting about 6, 7, I would say like 8 years ago. And it's been a life class, not an acting class. I've grown and understood and found out more about myself through this than anything else because you get so vulnerable. You get so like you're around other people that are just being weird as fuck, dude, you know? And it's like, and if you can't let that go or let yourself just be that weird person that we all are, or you know, then you're not doing yourself justice, and then like through that you discover a lot of things about yourself. So I always tell people, man, like take an acting class, like get out of your comfort zone, you know, and you'll learn a lot about yourself and a lot about the human being. And that's another thing. I like to just be like, you know, a fly on the wall, and just take things in, and like the way people, like I study so much of like old Hollywood films and like what they're doing now and why they're doing that now and the way they deliver, because the old Hollywood films had that, you know, that delivery and
Like the fast talking, like,
the
why'd you do that? See, you know,
yeah,
I'm talking all fast like this, Tyler, Tyler, you know.
yeah, the Atlantic, the
Yeah,
Atlantic accent, and
yeah.
what's that called? The North Atlantic.
I call it the Mersey accent. That's what I call it.
Yeah, and so and then that's like now it's all changed. It's more modern, and yet I don't know, like why are these lead guys the lead roles? They all have something. Like there's always something that captivates, you know, and like and I study all that, and that's life as well, you know. If you don't understand, if you can't understand what's going on, then like you're out of tune with yourself, and that's a big thing is being in touch with yourself, and that's the first thing, very very first thing, is you can't operate if you're like out of touch with yourself. Some people do, but not that long. They crash and they burn, and unfortunately that happens a lot, man. And I'm saying that in many ways, like you can be in touch with yourself and then hit it so huge in Hollywood and think you're shit, and then get into some crazy stuff and start going down the wrong path. Child actors, older actors, it happens to everybody, you know. And so you got to find this equilibrium of keeping like your insanity but yet insane at the same time, you know.
Have you trained yourself to be in the moment just by default, and now it's just like unconscious? You don't have to think about it, or do you wake up and you're like, I'm locked in right now, like I'm gonna be in the moment, I'm gonna listen to the sound of the waves as they crash, I'm gonna,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like I'm gonna be more observant today, I'm gonna observe how I feel and how people interact? Do you consciously do that shit, or have you just fucking trained it over time?
I don't know, man. I've always kind of been this like free spirited, looking at the world in a different aspect. And so I've always felt like that. And a lot has helped me is like The Peaceful Warrior, where like that book and the film talks about being so aware, so hyper aware that almost time slows down. And I love that. Like Josh and I were talking about that because he's very like aware as well, and like we're just so aware of our surroundings. And then like you get into a car when like a chick's driving and like she don't see shit or something, and it's like, or like you realize that other people like don't or are not aware of shit, dude. And it's like it's almost like, what are you doing to yourself, man? Like it's not like you have to focus. It's not like telling yourself, oh yeah, listen to the waves crash, or like, oh, but it's like, just take that time, and see how that bird lands and bends that branch or something, and just like finding the little magic in things, and then like honing in on that. It's just, it's beautiful, man. And you can't like operate like just going about your day doing shit and not looking up and realizing like this beautiful everything that's happening around you. And I
You
think,
could like feel that vibe, when you're around people that are in that headspace,
yeah,
where it's just like they're not here. They're
yeah,
not here with you.
yeah,
They're thinking about the next thing that they gotta do. They're thinking about this deadline. Like I gotta go. I gotta make sure I get gas. I gotta
yeah,
make sure that you know what I'm saying. I pay this bill. Like it's just like they're not there. It's just like
yeah.
they're in this like fortress in
That's
here.
that's what I saw that growing up as a kid. I was like, dude, it's another big kind of thing that kind of pulls on me too, because through this me pursuing these dreams, I've had to like sacrifice a lot, and I don't know if I've had to, but this is just how I'm operating about it. And it's like it's like how do I want to say this? I just saw these people, getting into this whole life and all of a sudden just not happy. And I'm like, nah, nah. And my grandpa, he's like, I had 6 kids by the time, and it's like, and like the generation's different, of course, but I just saw that, and I was like, I can't have that. And it even got to the point where about like 4 years ago, I got out of this relationship because I realized like I can't even give like my fullest love and appreciation to this other person because I have this other like pulling aspect of me. If like I can't like put you first yet, then like what's the point of like this? So I gotta like get my shit right first and love myself, to the fullest, and understand myself before I could even like be a good companion to someone, or like truly like love someone. And I thought I was in love many times, and so I've kind of like sacrificed that love relationship for this pursuit of like this creative what I've been blessed with. And it's really hard to explain because I truly have, Joey. I've been blessed with these talents. I'm not talking about like I'm just talking about everything, like my art, just what I'm doing, and I would just be doing God and whatever you believe in, just injustice and myself injustice. And I had that really, really that pulling feeling on me where like I was fighting with my ex, and I was like, why are we fighting? And it's like I was like, and I just realized, all right, I need to take a step back from just everything, everyone. And I did, to where like I didn't even feel like I existed, and I was just like, I was like, no one. It just seemed like no one even saw me. It was weird. It was a weird thing to where like now I'm kind of feel like I'm getting out of that a little bit, and I could kind of breathe a little. Another thing is also financially. It's a tough, man. It's so many ups and downs. Like I told you, like I made a shit ton of money when I first started, then I didn't make shit. Then I had a bunch, and then I didn't have anything. And it's like it goes up and down. It's an ebb and flow with creativity, with funds, with everything. And so now that like I'm starting to see some residuals come into this commercial, and I remember telling you, it's like I
Yeah,
finally, got a little room to like
breathe a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's such a good feeling. And now, like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see what happens with life and where it takes me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not operating with a closed heart. I'm not a cold muff. I operate out of love always, but I just realized what I had to do, and I had to do this shit solo. And I've been a lone wolf for quite a while now, and my friend circle is small. You know, I'm a family man. It's really hard for me to be away from the family, but I got to be out here, dude. I can't do this in Canyon City, Colorado. It'd
Nah,
be cool, but I can't. I can't.
you can't.
So, nah,
It's not
not yet.
possible. It's not possible. Yeah, it's just not in the cards out there, bro.
Not yet for like, an actor trying to make it in the industry. Like, if you're established, you can do whatever the fuck you want, Like you're not even auditioning at that point,
People are just
for
hitting you up. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, and that's really what I strive to do is to be able to choose my projects, and that's a big goal of mine. And make my own projects. I see myself doing like what you're doing as well as directing, acting, directing, writing. And I got my first taste of writing in the Muscle Dragger film, and it was so dope. It was so cool. And yeah, so I see myself doing this for like probably till I die, man. Like
100%.
I don't want to. I don't know. I just love it so much, man. So
Me too, bro. I got no plan B.
yeah.
I got zero plan B. This is it. This is what we're doing. Like this is what we're doing. We're doing it.
It's a great time. It's a great time to
It's
do it. There's so much out there. There's so much opportunity with like these lead roles and like so many huge things that like they're picking no name actors and making them like, and I think they should. I think they should like book whoever is the best for the role. But at the same time, it's a business, and you have to understand, like, is that gonna like the producers behind that? They don't look at it like that. They look at it as
yeah.
like, are they gonna make money? How can we make my money back?
Putting together the package. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Yeah.
yeah. But at the same time, like I'm saying, there's so much beautiful stories that are being, that are out there, and there's so many stories yet untold. Like this dude, I just heard the craziest story. Um, it was in World War II. It's a true story. And World War II, they'd be like, oh, sorry, so the Civil War, they'd be like fighting just outside your front yard, and like this family of girls, a mom and a couple daughters, were out there, and they talked to one of like the nurses there helping the wounded soldiers, saying, "Hey, we have a house, we could help, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Okay, good." And just then, um, they hear a loud scream, and it's the daughter, and she's yelling, and she's like, "Oh, she got shot." And so they run and try to help her, and they realize someone else got shot at the same time, like a young soldier on the field, and they realize that bullet went through him and hit her, and so they take care of her. She they could never find the bullet, so they were kind of worried. And like she went through this like an infection, thought she was gonna die, but came out of it. The young soldier got shot through his like scrotum, and
God damn.
hit yeah, and he survived as well, and hit her. Come to find out, months later, she became pregnant from a virgin, of like a virgin pregnancy, and it's just a crazy story. And this would be
What?
a sick movie too, if they haven't made it, because yeah. So come to find out, that bullet went through homie's scrotum into her womb and festered a child, and the baby was born, and then months, or I can't remember if it was like 200 days or something after that, the baby started getting really like an infection, a bad infection. They're like, what's going on? So they went in and they cut the bullet out of the baby, which is nuts. The bullet was in the baby.
You
Then
said this is a real. You said this is real, bro.
this is like, this homie was like, he's like, I would never tell this story if it wasn't like, credited and fact checked, be like, be on this, because this is one of the craziest stories. And he was a great storyteller. And then later, that young soldier and that girl end up meeting coincidentally and having two more babies after that, and falling in love and getting married. And so it's a crazy, crazy story. And he ended
Wild.
it. He was like, That was the only bullet that ever gave a life. I was like,
What the
um,
fuck?
yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
That's
It's
insane. Far-fetched.
it's a little to me it's a little fantastical.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
little
what I thought
crazy.
too.
That's a
But that's
little
what the best stories are, and like some of them, they're still untold, and there's just so much great storytelling to be out there. Like you're such a great writer, and I know you have like so many ideas just festering inside that little brain of yours.
That's the thing.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what you got coming, man.
Yeah, bro. The whole like festering is the right word because if you don't get them out, then they'll just like drive you fucking crazy. You know, it's like the thing
Yeah.
is like when you're an artist and when you're a creative, you have to create. You
Yeah.
have to create to be your fully realized fucking self. You
You're
have to
not
create.
you're not doing the world justice too. I think
Yeah,
it's a big picture there, you know.
you have to create to be your highest self. You have to create to feel normal, almost.
Yeah, otherwise you go insane. I
Yeah,
know.
dude, and that was happening to you, bro, when you were doing construction.
Yeah, it still does, man. And like on, I don't know when my next opportunity is gonna come. That's another thing. I don't know when my next paycheck's gonna come. That's another thing. It's like, can one live like this, and how long can one live like that? That's hard. And so, and then that's hard to like say. Then you, like to even hold a relationship, not knowing when the next anything's gonna happen. It's a tough one, man. Um, but if you could find someone that understands that and respects that, and also for me as a creative person, I like to just have my own space. I have to have my own space, and like I'll just dip out and not talk to anyone, or like just be in my zone and work on something for like a week, and then like come out, you know?
Reemerge, like,
Yeah.
oh shit,
And that's just my process, man. My creative process. Like, and like if some people don't respect that and understand that, that's cool. I get it. But
yeah.
yeah, that's
I
just what.
mean, creative process. So you mentioned that you get an idea, something comes to you, right? You might write it down. You might do a little research on it.
Yeah, a lot of my
What is the
things.
what is the creative process after that? You know what I mean? Like, cause you do paint, you do sketches, you
Yeah.
do pastels, you do oil, you do the fucking
Oh
all
no,
of
I
it.
haven't been working on oil in here just because the turpentine. I just can't work
Right,
on
right, 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 right,
where
right.
I live because you know, work space, live space, and but everything else, mixed media. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's you know, yeah,
How does that evolve to that point, bro? Like how do you know when you're going to be using this and that and the third? Like how does that
yeah.
process evolve?
It evolves through like what I want to what I see and what I can like portray, and like I want lately I've been adding a lot of elements to give depth and filling into my paintings. And it's like I have a lot of rain, I have water elements, lightning, I have clouds, I have a lot of elements to like make you almost viscerally like hear it or feel it. And then you got the depth with like the shiny silver and gold leaves, and I have like I'm working with holographic acrylics that like look completely different in one angle to the other. And so finding these new like materials I love, and something that also that not a lot of people work with or use in the techniques I use. Like I have fiber optic pieces with like thousands of
Yeah.
fiber optic lights, and that's some other shit, you know, that like if not used right could become gimmicky. But I find the balance between like, you know, the fine art and technology, and yeah, I can't. I want to work even bigger, man. I need a bigger space. I need a bigger space.
You want to do like a fucking the wall of a fucking just like a whole ass wall.
I want to sculpt. I want to do some sculpting.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
I'd like to see what you can what would you come up with when it comes to
Yeah.
sculpting. Cause you'd be on some shit, man. These
The process
women
for
that you'd
me,
sculpt.
dude. I have some sick ideas. Yeah, some like integrating like technology with. Have you heard of the maglev? It's like a magnetic levitation that has to be like plugged in, and then like
Oh,
it'll
dude, yeah.
levitate things. And the bigger, the stronger weight and heavier weight. And I got the company like and I'm like wanting to do that, but it's expensive. Just that the maglev itself, and then to build like a sculpture light enough to like look like it's floating and spin forever. It's a sick idea. I see some artists doing it, but not the scale that I want to do it. And yeah.
I'm trying to
Um,
see that, bro. I want to see that shit. That's gonna be fucking sick.
Yeah, I have this idea. It's gonna be sick. It's like I have like a samurai that's like doing this and like has like a couple hands like grabbing his swords and like the peaceful warrior kind of shit, sitting Indian style. So if I do that like as a sculpture and then have him floating and spinning around like with trickling water and like shit, dude, it'd be sick.
Mm,
Yeah,
I want that shit in my backyard, bro.
exactly, exactly. Everybody's gonna want that shit, dude. But
Boy,
yeah, the creative process is different. I think every time. For me, I always like usually start at a sketch. Like if I want to work on something big, I have a chalkboard that I'll do like a lot of stuff on to like free my mind. I have some left right brain connection processes as well, like just different techniques to like free me up and maybe just forget my last style or what I was doing and switch it up completely. And then study some great artists like Basquiat. I love like his style is like funky and crazy where I've like emanated his style and like felt like I was doing exactly what he was doing. Like remember when we did that one where like drunk, spitting on the canvas, drinking tequila, like kicking dirt on it and then like throwing the spray like dude that I love that shit, man. And like that gets you loose and into this like creative flow and then you kind of like get back into some like really detailed work and don't get me wrong, I love that. Like for me it's all about the details, and but I like to work big to where you could see what's going on. Like that looks sick like 100 yards out and you get closer and closer and then you're like right here and you still like and you're like oh man, and then the next day or 4 years later it's been hanging on your wall and you're like oh shit, I've never noticed that before. Like that's the kind of shit I like to do, stuff that
yeah,
it's the details, yeah.
yeah. You said I go to the chalkboard to free myself.
Yeah.
That's it. That's interesting.
Yeah, because yeah, it's like kind of like the same thing as street art, and you kind of like it's like a freeing experience, especially like when you work on canvas. It's very stressful because it's expensive. It's you don't want to fuck up. There's a lot of like process and steps, especially with my mixed media that you have to think about like analytically, like oh I can't do this until I do that. Oh I can't. There's like there's steps and levels to it, and that's on me. I've done it like that's my shit with what I'm working on now. But with the chalkboard, it's just like, oh yeah, that's cool, and just erase it. Or
Yeah,
like a dope exercise as an artist, or as anyone that like really syncs up your left and right brain is using both your hands, and you could work on a small piece of paper. And you take pens and you just like don't look at your left or right, and you just go and you like and you'll be so surprised how like in sync your shit is, and when you draw it down, and like you can do some crazy stuff, and that's a dope process. And so like I have like a 6 foot chalkboard over here that like you can do the full body, and when you're like full body, it's even more. And so little things like that get you into like that creative process, which is dope.
that's fucking sick. Yeah, because it's like super tactile. Like you're actually like moving your body and shit. You're like, and I like. I've never heard anybody say like I want to connect my left brain and my right brain. I never heard anybody say like I want to incorporate this like technical side to this creative side because they work in tandem. They work together, and I want to like bridge that gap.
Yeah, yeah. There's
I don't know if
techniques
I've ever
for it.
heard anybody say that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many techniques for that. I I don't know, that one's just my go-to. I really don't even like. It's just like my go-to one. I like was not even taught that. I just like it just felt right. You try it, bro. You know what I'm talking about. You'll
Yeah,
know.
I was gonna say like, did somebody like put you on game to that? Did you read that in a book or some shit? Like, how did you even fucking come up with that? Like, I feel like I need to connect left and right.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to like
I don't know what it
bridge
was.
that gap.
I just did it, and then like you could like do some crazy stuff, and it comes out super dope. And then I've even done like some actual paintings when I'm just painting both hands. I see artists doing that all the time, and you just feel a little bit more tapped in. I don't know how to explain it, you know.
You have pieces where you're like, okay, because you showed me some of your pieces and you'd be like, all right, I didn't lift the brush from here to here.
Yeah, I
You
have
know
a
what I
lot of
mean?
like
We
one
went all the way
lines.
around. This is one
Yeah.
line.
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and I like that, like you kind of set like it's not necessarily a limitation, but you set like a rule, you set like a boundary, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna follow this boundary to make this piece. And I like some like dispute being like, hey, restrictions isn't art. Like putting restrictions on shit, you can't be as creative as you want to be. But I beg to differ. If somebody was like, you need to create a piece of art only using three primary colors, it's like, bet, that's
That's
cool.
good.
It's like a
It's
new
discipline.
playground. You know what I mean?
And if you're trained and disciplined in that, you could make a beautiful sunset with three colors, primary colors. It's like all that exists. So it's like you can do everything with those colors, or just make some rudimentary ass shit. You know what I mean?
And it could still be dope.
It
It's
could still
like
be dope. Yeah, exactly.
I think you and I talked about that movie that was shot only on sticks. So it was like only, and it was black and white, and I cannot remember the name right now, but it's a black and white film. It's shot only on sticks, and the only camera movement that it does is a pan. The entire movie just pans and sticks.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, dude. I can't remember the name of it, but even just like within those constraints, or I'm only going to shoot this handheld, or I'm only going to shoot this
Mhm.
with this focal length, with this
Yeah.
lens. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of a cool way to kind of like impose your own limitations, but what you can create with those limitations can almost be better sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like you find the artistry within confines, and like if it's self-made or not, like a lot of times you are going to be like forced to do something that you're not comfortable or used to doing. And so if you practice or prepare yourself in those circumstances, then you're just like, all right, it's nothing to you,
Yeah.
if you're tapped in like that. And that's a big thing as part of being an actor and an artist. I'd say more as an actor, with what we're talking about, is just to be prepared. It's like that's the best thing that we can do, is to just be prepared, because you never know what's coming around the corner.
Yeah, I know. It's like there's all of this like praise given to art that is planned. You know what I mean? And I appreciate planning a lot. It's like,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to filmmaking, like pre-production is an
got to be
essential piece
intentional.
of the puzzle. But
Yeah.
like happy accidents and shit and that art that happens spontaneously
Hmm.
is just as good as art that is planned.
If not better, man. That's like the
Sometimes better,
word in the
you know?
universe. That's like, with this last film I'm working on, the autonomy with, yeah, we have some stuff written down, but he's just like, yeah, say how you would say it. And so like with that you find a lot about like yourself and the character as well. And you're like, oh yeah, and then you start writing. Like a lot of times, all I do this actually every time. Whatever he's saying in like that line, I'll write down what I would say instead, and then rehearse it like that. And so like then you have this more of like, you find it true to yourself. Like you're never not like without yourself. Like some people I know like can go like way far and be in full makeup, but yet there's still something that they're bringing to the table that's like in them. You know what I mean? Even if it is like transcending and otherworldly like performances, it's still coming from whatever they got going on. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, bro. Art art is I heard a quote, art makes the world bearable.
Mm, yeah. We need artists, man. You know what's funny is I don't really like a lot of people's art though. Like their paintings, bro. I like don't like your shit. I don't like your shit, bro. What's up? No,
What's
no.
up,
I'm
Doc?
just, I just very I'm particular and subjective, of course, but at the same time I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate that, and I find like it's just art as far as the fine art. It's such a weird world, and I'm not in that world at all. Like
I
I don't
don't
understand it.
understand it either. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and when I talk about art and like art making the world bearable, I'm talking about every art
Right,
discipline,
right.
culinary, horticulture, fucking.
There's art in everything. You got to find
It's
art in everything, man.
dude, you
Doing
can
your doing your dishes.
being an athlete. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I think art is in ingrained and intertwined with fucking everything, and you could
yeah.
find art in everything. And
Mhm.
I think that being able to tap into that, it's like you are becoming one with your soul's expression.
We all need that, bro.
We all need that.
Especially in this world today, man. It's just like everything is getting square and black and white, and it's just like, ugh. It's crazy, dude. I just saw
Well,
like 1970s, the first like Southwest Airlines stewardess outfits. I just saw a picture of this. They're like, damn. They're like wearing short shorts, cowboy boots, belts. Like they're looking fly, right? And now it's just like so serious in business, and it's just like, what? How? Like, did we peak? Did the world peak? Like, are we like, what's up, dude? Like, I don't know, man.
I think when it comes to like art and that bridging that gap between art and commerce, I think there's like a pendulum that swings back and forth. And I think the
Yeah.
pendulum
Oh
went
yeah.
really far to like political correctness and like super far into like appeasing the most amount of people as possible and not offending anybody. And that's not fucking
Gambling.
art, dude. And then now it's kind of like it's on its way back. People
Yeah.
are just fucking over it, dude. People are
Like,
just
100%.
tired of that like watered down,
Yeah.
diluted, plain beige bullshit, bro. And we're just like we're fucking tired of it, dude. The pendulum swinging back. These huge studios are losing billions of dollars doing it.
Yeah.
And I was listening to an interview
Crazy.
recently, bro. The thing is like, you know how long it takes to make a movie, bro. It takes
Yeah.
a couple of years. So it's like there could be a script that was written 3 years ago and movies that are just getting made now and getting put out now. And we're like, we're over it.
Right.
Like,
They're like, oh shit.
we're done. We're over it. You know what I mean? Like that was 3 years ago when you started writing that shit. It's a wrap. We're gonna move
We
on
need
now.
some good. There's so much good shit out there, but what they put in your
Yeah.
face is like it's same with music. It's like, dude, I can't fuck with the new music they're putting in your face right now. I just can't. There's some crazy story I heard too. There's like a direct correlation with our world and the society and music and the music that's being pushed in your face and pumped out, and it's really interesting, when we had of course, like during Beethoven's time there was some crazy shit going on, but they had some fucking beautiful, like groundbreaking music that people have never heard in their lives, to where Paganini was playing his violinist and people said he was possessed by the devil, and like, you know what I mean, like that shit's crazy to be like,
Yeah.
yo, yeah, like that. That's wild to have that, and like that, like damn, to be Paganini, man, it would be crazy. You know him? You know of him?
I'm unfamiliar. Nah. Nah.
Paganini's one of like the greatest violinists, and was doing stuff like that was never really heard or done before, and people thought it was like blasphemy, and he like they everyone thought like he had like the devil's advocate, or like he had like the devil like helping him out or some shit.
And it's
It was
like,
wild.
what is the version? What's the modern day version of that? You know what I mean? Like we've told so many stories, so many different ways. It's like I'm starting to think that there is like a finite amount of ways to tell stories and to tell this hero's journey, and structure and
Yeah.
conflict and drama and all those things are like very technical as far as like how you could analyze them on the page. But I think it's just, it all comes down to how
Yeah.
how it's done. It's not necessarily what you're doing, it's how you're doing it.
Mm.
How this this lens is going to interpret the material, and how I'm going to put my unique perspective on that. And I think that's the only way to make something original now.
Yeah. Yeah, got to, man. Got to. I mean, at the same time, like, don't get me wrong, I would catch a bag if like someone was like, "Hey, yeah, you want to be in the MC Marvel universe as like fucking Captain Go Fuck Yourself or something?" Like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'll pull up, catch a bag real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree, bro. I don't think it's like, I don't think those movies are just, it's not art, or that it's just,
yeah.
whatever. I
That's a great.
think,
It's fun to watch. Those are super fun. They're
yeah, it's fun.
crazy
It's a spectacle. You know what I mean?
spectacle.
It's explosions. It's the villain trying to blow up the world and shit. And it's like,
Yeah,
that's fun, but like,
that's
emotional impact.
nah,
We don't watch those movies for emotional impact.
nah, nah.
You
That's
know what I
like
mean?
yeah, some blockbuster shit.
Yeah, we're on some other shit when it comes to like real mindset, belief changing movies like a Schindler's List, or fucking Crash, or you name it, bro. It's
Crash.
like,
Yeah,
think about those movies that like had those big impressions on you.
yeah. Crash was rough.
American History X.
Oh damn. Yeah,
Like movies that were just, Requiem for a Dream, movies that were just like so crazy,
I know.
really taught a lesson, really brought you into that world, and had a profound impact on how you look at the world after you see those movies.
Hmm. And that's what I want to be a part of, man. Like for
Straight
real.
up,
I think that's what everyone wants to be a part of. But then
straight up.
there's money talks, and it's tough to make something like that. And sometimes it just don't hit, you know? Like you could be released next to like a week after Star Wars or some shit, and you just never even hear about it until like eight
Yeah,
years later. You're like, what the fuck? I've never heard about this movie. Then you watch and you're like, damn.
yeah, bro.
Um,
And a lot of movies that happens with, dude. And
yeah.
I don't really know. Like, all I want to do is this, right? I want to direct and make this. I want to do this. But it's like, we got to figure out what the way, like how we're going to be able to live off this shit. You know what I mean? And really, really live off this consistently.
Yeah,
To
I agree.
me, I think it's just like making the stuff that you want to make, and figuring out how to put it through the channels that are actually going to make you some money. Because theatrical releases, it's like, it's real, that is a tough world right now, bro. Like, it's
Yeah, it's great.
expensive. People really like, I go to the movies all the time with me and my dad. We go to the movies all the time, but like, it's, that business isn't what it used to be, and that's where
Nah,
motherfuckers were getting paid, bro.
streaming, yeah, streaming changed everything. I just heard it was like, you would have like Denzel Washington back in the day would be making like that. The homie was like making millions on a movie, and the box office, I mean, the tickets would be like $7, bro. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And now it's like $25, and they're making less. It's like, where's all this money going? And like the dichotomy of it all, and it's like it's the streaming and the social media, it's changed everything, and now we're having like to work with AI and decipher, is that real or not, or like what can we do and how can we use that in our benefit to create something beautiful, because I think we can. I really do. Like touching on this AI subject is, I think we could work hand in hand as a creative to come up with something beautiful. And but as far as like AI films completely generated, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real shit, just like the AI in the background helping organize or keep things on time as like your AI assistant, or like all types of shit. We're gonna be able to, it's gonna be a crazy, crazy future in this industry with that being said.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about it, and yeah, see what
I'm optimistic, bro. Like,
yeah, got it.
however the industry changes and however it evolves and whatever is going to happen in the future, like if there is a resurgence of independent films and like independent production companies coming out and breaking through, whatever it is, I'm just gonna roll with it, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna adjust accordingly.
Like said,
I'm not gonna sit here and
the
bitch
pendulum,
about it.
there's a pendulum with everything. You know, like with like why I'm where my next job's coming or this AI. Like, all right, that's cool. Like, and then people are like, nah, like that was cool, but nah, like we need something real. That's always gonna be the case. Like no matter what. And there's always going to be an audience, younger eyes, older eyes. But no matter what, we're going to need something real as human beings. And if we don't have that, like if we're not making that, someone else will, you know? And yeah, I think we could use artificial intelligence for our benefit. And I think it's going to go weird. It's going to get weird at first. And it's going to be super
Hell
dope.
yeah. It's already been a little weird. Shit's been a little weird lately, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm out of that whole loop. I don't know, dude. I don't even own a computer, bro. So like,
Yeah, I mean, if there's just been some AI videos that have come out that are, some of them are hilarious, bro. They got these like hilarious ass videos coming out, but then they got like some AI that is just like it's real creepy.
yeah,
It's like really, really
I have
creepy.
seen some of that shit on TikTok and social media.
Yeah, dude, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, it's like you just feel uneasy. You're like,
Bro,
there's
like
something
I saw
fucked up
something. It was
about
like
this.
a girl looking all sexy on a beach, and then it was like, "This is AI," and I thought she was real, bro. I was like,
Yeah, there are
so
videos
I'm like,
sometimes that
yo,
I'm like,
the pornography industry is like gonna be like
it's just gonna
fucked.
blow up.
Bro, there's not gonna be porn stars anymore. It's just gonna be fake ass bitches, dude.
It's gonna be crazy.
Wild.
Well, dude, I've officially taken 2 hours of your time,
Oh, nice, man.
so we
All
chopped
right.
it up.
Yeah, hell yeah,
We really chopped it up, bro.
as we do.
As we be doing, you know what I'm saying? If I was sitting there chilling on a hammock,
Playing some
fucking,
chess.
we playing chess, we'd be chopping it up.
Oh,
So I appreciate you, cutting out fucking 2 hours of your Saturday.
yeah, I don't got nothing to do, bro. Ever, so.
Ever. I'm just an artist, dog. Like if I wanted to paint today, maybe I would have painted some shit.
Yeah, literally, I was like, my mom was talking to her. She's like, "What do you got planned today?" I was like, literally, moment by moment, minute by minute, hour by hour, mom. Taking it how it is, man.
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna come out there soon and stay at your house and fucking vibe out and you know what I mean.
I
Do
look
the
forward
damn
to it.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be nice, bro. Summertime's gonna be nice. I'm gonna get back to Colorado though, summertime, hopefully. But I'm hoping I'm like on a series regular, honestly. It's like
That's what I want for you.
yeah,
That's what I
just
want
book
for
a
you.
ticket now because Murphy's Law, like you make plans and then shit changes. That's
Just
how
get
it
that fucking $10 insurance, bro. You know what I'm saying? Book the ticket and then you'll get a job. That's how
Bro,
it
I
works.
fly Southwest, dude. Bags fly free, and you could always change your shit whenever.
Not anymore, motherfucker.
What do you mean?
They got rid of bags flying free.
Oh, really?
That just dog like a week ago. That just happened. Yeah. They were like, fuck you, we're
Southwest?
not doing that anymore. Yeah, straight up.
You know they used to give you free in-flight cocktails too. Southwest, bro, used to be tight.
Airlines used to give you food, they used to do all kinds of shit.
And you could smoke in the plane.
Things done
Can
changed.
you imagine though? Someone smoking on a plane.
Oh, bro, that'd be fucking awful.
I know. You just got
You
your
s-
baby.
So fucking
You
fucking
mind, sir? Yeah, oh shit, dude. He's good. He's just going to sleep.
oh, look at your cute little cheeks.
Shit.
Well, bro, thanks for chopping it up with me, my dog.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on this, man. I've been looking forward to it, so appreciate it. I love what you're doing. I love all the questions and just every insight that we like chop off each other. It's dope, dude. And we're just you and I have always been like that, bro.
Straight up, bro.
Yeah.
My guy. I appreciate you.
Hell yeah.